Hello and welcome, my 0999 class. As we move along this semester and I see your performance and I see where things are lacking or things are not lacking, I will tailor this course a little more to you. So we have to get to know each other a little bit. So as you can see for week 3, there's an assignment here, the Exemplification Essay. I wanted to at least explain this to you for those of you that are like, oh my gosh, do I have to do all of these or whatever, okay? This is an exemplification essay. That means it requires you to use examples. In this case, you're using personal examples. So you're not finding things, you're not researching things. This is all about you, okay? So it should be a little bit easier to write. It should be well organized, insightful, grammatically correct, in an essay format, 4 to 6 paragraphs long, 400 500 words. Some of my videos I talk more than 400 500 words, so this isn't like a huge, I'm asking you to write like a real thick book like the Patterns for College Writing book or anything like that, okay? I'm just asking you to write 400 500 words. Some of you have phone conversations that are longer than that, or texts that are longer than that even. So okay, so it should have an introduction that states a clear thesis, that is a governing idea, and this is where I'm getting to know you, getting to know if you know what that means yet or not. If not, then we'll spend some extra time on that. If you do know, then we won't. Okay, we'll spend just the appropriate amount of time. You need to proofread carefully for grammar and punctuation errors. Proofreading should not be some kind of chore that you do. In fact, if you just read out loud, I'm going to reiterate this throughout the entire semester, if you read out loud your essay or have someone else read out loud your essay, you will know that things don't sound right. So proofread carefully. The theme for this essay is reading and writing habits. Even if you don't read a lot, you should be able to offer some personal comments on one of these topics, okay? On one of these topics, not all of these topics. Okay. So if you look at the first one, use specific examples to explain what this quotation means to you. A reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies. The man who never reads lives only one. That's George R.R. Martin, who wrote Game of Thrones. And so I'm just asking you to write an essay. Okay, what do you think about that? Go. Again, 4 to 6 paragraphs long, 400 500 words. Not that big of a deal. Okay. Again, you're only doing one of these, so you're choosing one. Number 2 is, according to C.S. Lewis, a children's story that can only be enjoyed by children is not a good children's story in the slightest. Okay, and one of the questions that asks, what are some children's books that you enjoyed as a child and still enjoy now? That's kind of a follow-up question. The essay should not be about all the children's books that you love, but you need to react to that quote, whether you agree or disagree about that quote. It is important, to me anyway. Number 3, Oscar Wilde once said, "It is what you read when you don't have to that determines what you will be when you can't help it." One of my students in my physical classes asked me, what does that mean when you can't help it? And I explained to the student, this is, again, the question asks, what do you think he means? What do you read when you don't have to? That is, what you choose to read when you're not reading for school. What do you think your reading choices say about you? Okay, and that part of what determines what you will be when you can't help it. And I explain that to a student as, you see a toddler or like a 2-year-old, you got the terrible twos. We all have some interactions with them at some point, whether it's a younger brother, niece, nephew, kid of your own, right? And they can't help it. They can't help themselves. They, go walk around and get into things they shouldn't. They don't know any better yet. Okay, and so what he's maybe suggesting is that, when you're throwing a fit, when you're mad, when you're angry, when you're upset, when you're getting your nose into something that you shouldn't, that is times when you can't help it, even as an adult. And so what you read when you don't have to determines what kind of person you are, in a way. Okay. At least that's part of my take on it. Some of you may have a different take on that. Number 4, do you do more of your reading from printed materials or online materials? Explain. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. One of my students asked me, so can I talk about whether or not I like books in print or books in Kindle? or I'm on the iPad, right? Sure, if that's what that question brings up with you. Do you do more of your reading from printed materials or online materials? Explain. Do you read on your phone? Are you scrolling and looking at sports blogs or sports news and stuff that you find on Twitter? Is that where you get your reading? Why? If so, why? You can't just spend 400, 500 words explaining, I find all of my sports material on Twitter, I love it, and that's it. Okay, I watch videos and I read things and I feel happy about it. You have to explain, why that. I offer an example to the students of that I still get the newspaper. I get the newspaper delivered. I read it almost every day, especially on the weekends. And why do I do that? Do I read the news online? No, I don't. I really don't. Sometimes I do, if there's something specific I want to look into or whatever. I also cut out articles. I have some over here because I'm a novelist and I write about crime sometimes, and I read the police beats, and you find some really great material in there, stuff that I couldn't even make up on my own. So I would probably talk about that if I was talking about printed materials. Whether or not I read books in print or books on Kindle, I read them all, and I also like to listen to audiobooks too. So I might talk about that in my essay. So as far as all the rules in this thing, this is a personal experience essay. All of your examples should come from your own experience as a reader. This is not anything you got to look up necessarily or anything like that. So a checklist: have I incorporated the MLA style, author, block, title, and pagination? So this is me seeing if you understand what an MLA style looks like. If not, then we're going to spend time on it. If you do understand that already, then we don't need to spend a lot of time in 099 on stuff that you already know how to do. Okay. Okay, what else? Is my essay double spaced? Is my essay saved in the proper format? Right? Is my writing free of grammar, spelling, and punctuation errors? Again, read it out loud. Does my essay state a clear thesis? Does my essay contain at least 4 paragraphs, including an introduction, at least 2 body paragraphs, and a conclusion? Is each of my body paragraphs unified? Like, are they together? Does it make sense? Is there a transition sentence? Does each supply adequate examples and or evidence? Like, do you spend a lot of time on one part but not a lot on the other? Is it unbalanced? Does the conclusion end the essay on a strong note? Don't put in conclusion one that leaves the reader thinking about the topic. Have I submitted my final draft to the Dropbox? So those are just things to help you out. I noticed that there's a broken link in there, so I will get you a proper MLA format so you can see it, and we'll go into that in further detail as the need arises. We'll certainly go over it in 1101 and 0999. We'll see what you turn in. Don't get too stressed out about this assignment. If you're going to make mistakes, make them here, okay? Don't make mistakes out of laziness or just that you don't care. Do give 100% so that I can see what 100% looks like, and we can go from there. It's not about being an expert on writing an essay in the 3rd week of 0999. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. I want to see the effort. I want to see you bring up some thoughtful remarks. Really think about it. An outline, if you're paying attention to 1101, an outline would probably be good to get your thoughts down first and start that way. And this is just for me to get to know you a little better so I can service your needs, as we go throughout the semester, and I can tailor this class to what you need. But in order for me to tailor this class, I have to see exactly where you're lacking and see what kind of writers you are and see where the starting point is. So hopefully this helps explain the essay that's due this week, the exemplification essay in week 3, and I'll see you next time.